Live here. All right. We are live. Okay, welcome guys. If you don't know me, my name is Amber Nicole. I am a confidence and mental health coach. You can also call me a spiritual navigator, whatever. Anyway, so I am here called to just enlighten you today. Today's conversation is going to be, I guess some people might get a little bit triggered by what I say, but I'm hoping I'm not triggering anyone. I'm hoping just enlightening you, sharing knowledge, helping you open up your mind to a different way. But um, I don't want to offend anybody. But however, if you get offended, that's you. Because I'm not called to shut my mouth because whoever gets offended, I'm called to just be honest. So if you can see the title, I don't even know if I gave a title for today, but basically my point today is that as Christians, if you're not a Christian, this isn't even for you. So number one, if you're not a Christian, then this ain't for you because you ain't even gonna understand what I'm saying, and you're probably gonna come back everything I'm talking about. And if that's you, it is what it is. This just ain't your channel, okay? Number one. And number two, yes, let's talk about the title. So the title that we're going to talk about, or the discussion, let's forget about the title. The discussion that we're going to have is a post that I've seen on Instagram. These were not my words. I did repost it. They're not my words. And on there, she said that happy culture is ruining Christians because we were not called to be happy. Woo, Jesus. What? What you mean we're not called to be happy? So do you mean we're called to live in this horrible life? Do you mean we're called to just be sad all the time? Do you mean we were called to just not enjoy life? Is that what you're saying if we're not as Christians called to be happy? No, that is not what I mean. If that's what we're supposed to be, then we ain't serving the right God, right? No, I'm not saying that we are called to just not enjoy life and it's just supposed to be horrible. I'm simply just saying that we're not called to be happy. There's nowhere in the Bible that it says happiness, is what I'm saying. There's nowhere in the Bible where it even includes to happiness. But what it does say is we're called to have joy, and joy and happy are not the same thing. Happiness is based on your emotions. One day, emotionally, you feel happy because whatever's happening in your life, you feel happy. And then the other days, you don't feel so happy anymore. So we're not called to happiness. We're called to have joy because joy is something that's inner, that no matter what we're going through in our life, we're still going to have that level of joy. So let me tell you in the scripture where talks about what we're called to do. So if you see my post, you see where I talked about 1 Corinthians 10:31, where it says, what you do it all for the glory of God. Whatever you do it all for the glory of God. That's 1 Corinthians 10:31. Whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Whatever you do it all for the glory of God. So when you think about the decisions that you make on a daily basis, when you're thinking about how am I showing up in my relationships, why am I creating this business, what am I doing in my life, how am I showing up in the world, just my character, right? Am I doing it for the glory of God, or am I doing it out of whatever I want to do? So let's just say business wise, I'm doing business because I want to be wealthy. Well, obviously, God called us to be wealthy because that's what abundance is. Abundance is wealth. However, if you're doing it strictly just to get money, wealth and money ain't the same thing. If you're doing it strictly just to get money, then you're not doing it for the glory of God. You're doing it because of the love of money and you want money. Money doesn't glorify God. Wealth does. Wealth does. Money does not glorify God. So when you wake up every morning, when you show up in the world, are you doing it to glorify the person, not the person, but you do it to glorify our Savior, Jesus Christ? Or are you doing it because of your own selfish desires? Are you doing it because of the brokenness you have? Are you doing it because of whatever reasons? Like when you think about your decision making, think about what you're doing it for. Do you even ask yourself, am I doing this to glorify God? Number one. Number two, I'm always numbering stuff, but don't listen to me because I'm going number one, number two, number one, number two, all through the thing. And I'm really not going in no specific order. So stay with me, okay? Anyways, so when I was saying how we're not called to be happy and we're called to have joy, I wrote down some notes that I wanted you guys to, because I didn't want to just be all over the place because sometimes I get on here and I be everywhere. So I wrote down some notes. So what I want to talk about is if you find yourself not being satisfied with dedicating yourself to one person, If you find yourself seeking money for joy, I mean, money for happiness, or if you find yourself just building a business for money, then those things are what we're not called to do. Number one, this one I'm talking about, are you finding that you can't be with one woman? Listen, this gonna step on somebody's toes. I already know it is because I had people arguing on my Instagram about polygamy, and we were called to have multiple wives, and Abraham had this many wives, and no, God said that one body, one flesh, and with two become one. And everybody is taking their own interpretation of what the Bible is and just putting it in whatever they want it to be. I'm not technically on here to do any of that. I really just wanted to ask you is when you think about, because I'm only asking you because this is what I've heard. Okay. I'm not going off of nothing else, but what I see with my eyes in the culture. For those of you who say, I want to be with multiple people, why should I have to be with one person? Why should I have to just be with one woman or one man? If this man serves me over here and this man serves me over here, or if this woman serves me over here and this woman serves me over here, and they both give me two different things, and that what makes me happy, why do I have to be with one person? Because you are looking to self seek for happiness. You're not looking for joy. You're looking for somebody to feel something in you that you clearly don't feel yourself. When I see that, then there's what's the reason for two people then? Because what you're basically saying is that I'm not good enough for myself with nobody, with zero people. Because relationships are not supposed to be your everything. Relationships are not supposed to make you happy. Relationships are simply supposed to add to what you have already. I already have joy. I already have happiness. I already have meaning in the moments. I already have a life that I love. I already have all that. So being in a relationship, the man that I'm with only adds to that, which means if I had two, that's too much. I ain't got time for all that, right? I'm not self-seeking. The Bible also says we are not called to be self-seeking. We are called to give. We're called to love. We're called to do for our neighbors, but we're not called to be self seeking. Again, this does not mean that we are not supposed to be joyful. We're not supposed to have a life that we love. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying is that there has to be order and structure. And when we're all over the place and just doing whatever we want to do, and this is what makes me happy, and there's no real order and there's no real structure in your life or even structure in how you think, then there's really no true fulfillment that you have. And God called you to be fulfilled, not to be empty and broken and seeking all of these things, these houses and cars. And I got to have all the money in the world so I can look good. And I got to have Gucci and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying that we're not supposed to enjoy these things. Listen, God knows I love a good Gucci purse. Okay. I'm not saying we're not supposed to have those things. What I'm saying is that we are not supposed to need and worship those things. We're not supposed to idolize those things. We are called to serve the Lord. We are called to be joyful. We are called to not be happy, but to live a life fulfilled in wholeness, in joy, in peace, in love. When you have that, who cares about happy? Who cares about happy? The emotion of happy. Happy is an emotion. If I have joy because of how I'm showing up in the world, if I have joy because the people that's in my life that I get to love on and get to love me in return, if I have joy because of my business that I have that I get to pour out into you and my clients, if I have joy, why do I need happiness? Because when I'm not happy, because happy again, let me reiterate, is an emotion. When I'm not happy, then what am I seeking for, right? When I'm not happy, then I want something to fulfill me, to make me happy. But when you have joy, there's things that you can be grateful for. Maybe I don't have all the money that I want right now, but I do have people that love me, but I do have, children, I do have a home, a roof over my head, I do have money in my bank account. Whatever it is that you're looking for when you're not happy, you still have joy because there's things that you can still pull on that you can say, well, I still have this and I still have that. We're called to be grateful. We're called to have gratitude and show gratitude when everywhere you go. When you find yourself being grateful, when you find yourself having joy, when you find yourself being loving and caring, when you find yourself learning to be vulnerable and open to the people who deserve it, when you find yourself just having those things, when you find yourself living the life of abundance. I know a lot of people don't understand what abundance is, but for me and what my interpretation that I've gotten, basically, abundance is love, peace, joy, wealth, and purpose. When you have those five things, when you have love, that's what most of us seek, right? Love and connection. When you have joy, meaning you're able to be grateful for whatever's happening in your life. And even if it's not something that you want to be happening, even if it's, there's some chaos and frustration over there, there's still something you can, I said, snag on that you can be grateful for, because we're not supposed to focus on what's wrong with our lives. We're supposed to be focused on what's good in our lives. And my coach taught me is that instead of me looking at life being, why is this happening to me, instead of me looking at life, whatever chaos is going on, he called me to say, look at it as, number one, a lesson. And what is this supposed to teach me right now? What is my life teaching me in this moment? Is it teaching me that maybe I have some low self-esteem and that's why I need to be sleeping with all these different men? Maybe I have low self-esteem, and or maybe I'm struggling. I have a poverty mindset, which is why I think I need three jobs versus trying to find um, something I'm passionate about and make wealth off of that. Or I'm broke and I don't know how to get the money. And I feel like life is just horrible because I'm struggling financially and I just don't know what to do. And when I'm just so focused on the problem, there's no way I can have a solution. Because when you focused on the problem, the solution doesn't come when you're focused on the problem. The solution comes when you're learning the lesson and taking that as a test of, what am I supposed to get out of this? How can I get myself out of this? And what can I do to make it better so I don't put myself back in this position again? So when you have that, when you have joy, that's the joy, focusing on the joy. When you have peace, peace means not you, not anyone watching this, not anyone listening on my podcast over there on YouTube can take my peace away from me. I don't care what you say, what you do, how you come at me. I love you, regardless how what you think about me, but I don't care what you have to say about me, in the sense of, because I know that I'm pure at heart and I know who I am and I know whose I am, and nothing that you say to me can take me out of that character. I have peace, peace in knowing who I am, that I'm not about to be fighting on the internet with internet trolls. I see it so much. Like, some of you guys get so triggered off of other people's comments, and I'm sitting there like, why are you guys letting this person bother you? Like, it's crazy to me. But whatever, sometimes I get a little enjoyment out of it, but sometimes it goes too far and I have to block you. But at the end of the day, when you have what I say, love, joy, peace, purpose, what is your purpose? What are you here for? Why did God create you? What are you made for? How are you showing up in the world? What are you giving? Not this whole I gotta receive culture. What are you giving to the world? How are you showing up and being better? How is your character? Even if you're given a smile daily, if you're given a kind word, like, what is your purpose? What are you passionate about? What is that one thing that feeds your soul that you'll just do even if you didn't make money off of it? I'm not saying don't, but I'm just saying, what would you do? What is what is your purpose? Why am I here? What am I here for? I know what I'm here for. And first off, I took a gift test, number one, because I'm like, Lord, what am I supposed to be doing? But I took a gift test to see what my gifts were. I took a spiritual gifts test and a regular gifts test, and to see, like, what am I here, so I can put those two together. I'm good at speaking, I'm good at teaching, and I'm good at leading, and I'm good at showing people who God is through my life and how I share. So I've learned how to put those things together to be able to help other people, and through that, through my purpose, I truly enjoy doing it, but I also make money off it as well. But I enjoy what I do every single day. I'm not just here, I actually enjoy doing it. So what was that? Four: joy, love, peace, purpose, wealth. Wealth. We're called to be wealthy. Being, first of all, being broke to me is a sin. I'm sorry, but it is. God didn't say, nowhere in the Bible did God say anything about us being broke. Yes, he said the love of money is the root of all evil, but he didn't say money was the root of all evil. He said the love of it, meaning, do you worship money so much? Is it your idol? Do you have to have money? Is money ruining your life? If you have it, is it making you be all boastful? If you don't have it, is it making you be like, oh my God, I don't know, I can't. We are supposed to be masters over money. It's not supposed to be masters over us. You are money is supposed to serve you. You're not supposed to serve it, right? So if you have wealth, bam, then there you go. So there's the five things. When you have those things, let me circle back to the what I was saying before. We're not called to be happy. We're not called to be happy as Christians. We're not called to be filled with happiness because happiness is an emotion. God said, don't let your emotions get in the way of how you show up. If we are so caught up in our emotions, which a lot of people are, which is the problem why most people can't connect today, why men and women cannot seem to come together, is because of your emotions. Because as soon as somebody says something wrong, you triggered and now you're ready to argue. And now all of a sudden you fly off the handle and you can't even handle it anymore because of your emotions. When you step out of your emotions and you gain a new level of wisdom, number one, when you learn who you are, when you heal your heart from how you feel about men, and when you heal your heart from how you feel about women, then you don't have to worry about a woman making you happy or a man making you happy because we're called to be teams. We're called to come together and to be in a unit to do together as one, not edging against each other. It bothers me. It really bothers me because I love men and I love women. Trust me, I've been through a lot of trauma with men that if I didn't heal those parts of me, I would not like with men right now. But however, I had to realize that those relationships were depictive of who I was at that time when I was in those relationships, number one, and also based on just what was going on that person, not necessarily all men, whatever. Anyways, this isn't about relationship. It's literally called to be about happiness and how the happy culture is killing Christianity because we're not called to be happy in the Bible. And if we do what we're called to do, and that's serve God, that's love people, that show up in the world as the best versions of ourselves, that's continuously gaining wisdom, learning who we are, how can we be the best version of us? And when we love people, when we do all those things, you don't care about happy? I'm not saying don't be happy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is don't let happy be the dictator of how you make your decisions. That's what I'm saying. Not that you should not be happy, but don't let that make your decisions because happiness is a fleeting. It's fleeting. If 1 minute I'm happy when I was in relationships, 1 minute I was happy with that person, next minute I wasn't. So because I'm happy with the man I'm with, we together now, and then when I'm not happy, I don't want to be with you no more. Isn't that how we show up? Isn't that how some of us are? Oh, I want to be with you because we happy and we good and the relationship is amazing and I love you. And then soon as he or she starts doing something that you get pissed off about, now all of a sudden this is over. I can't do this bullshit. I'm not happy here. Then you be done. Then you over. We ain't called to be happy because because your happiness, since it's so fleeting, gonna have you in and out of a relationship, in and out of jobs, yelling at your kids and then not yelling at your kids. If I'm happy now and I'm not like, we're not called to be happy. We're called to have joy. That even though all this stuff is going on in my life, even though I'm frustrated right now, even though things aren't going the way I want it to go, even though whatever it is that's happening, this is life. We here, we ain't going nowhere, right? So we have to learn how to find joy in every moment that we're in. We have to learn how to focus on whatever it is that we can focus on, even if it's a little piece of something. And we also have to learn how to be okay with ourselves and love ourselves and find peace within ourselves. Because when you have peace within who you are, then you're not warring with everybody else on the outside because hurt people hurt people. And now you on the outside trying to hurt everybody else the same way you refuse to accept that you're in pain. So thank you guys for listening today. I don't want to go on and on. I wanted this to be short, but I really just want to talk about how the happy culture is just ruining Christianity and how we're not called to be happy. Again, if you want to go back and look at that scripture, it's 1 Corinthians 10:31, where it says, whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God, not for the happiness of you. We do it all for the glory of God. Because when we glorify God in our lives, when we are walking little Jesuses on the earth, I'm not Jesus, but you know what I'm saying. When I'm walking with peace, when I'm walking with joy, when I'm walking in a level of healed and wholeness, I'm able to spread the light and be the light in the world. And with so much darkness around me, I'm able to be that light because I'm not focused on happiness. I'm focused on joy. And joy is something that no one can ever take away from you. That ain't that what Kirk Franklin's song in Smile, I think he talks about that, where he says that we need to have joy and don't let nobody take that away from you because joy is here. It's on the inside. Have joy, not happiness. Joy in your heart is what we're looking for. So I thank you guys. Also, if you don't already follow me on TikTok, or you can go on YouTube and follow me. Same at Hello Amber Nicole. I also have a podcast that's on Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you can find podcasts at under Hello Amber. It's not Hello Amber Nicole. What the hell is my podcast called? Oh no, Let's Talk with Amber Nicole. Something like that. Lord, I can't remember my podcast. But anyways, join me on my podcast, or you can check me out here on TikTok. Thank you guys. I love you. Blessings and prosperity to you. And I hope that this didn't step on too many toes. And if it did, take it as a lesson, not as me talking about you. Just take it as a lesson of what you need to do moving forward to just become the best version of yourselves. All right. Enjoy. Bye, guys. All right. YouTube, you're still over here. Let me go ahead and end this broadcast. Thank you guys for listening.